Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways. And this edition obviously is dedicated to our friend and producer Raymond Rogers, who passed away very suddenly last Monday, just after we'd done the show, actually. And very sad.
Very tragic, very tragic. A good friend of everybody's, and the 66, you know, yeah. He was way too young to die, and it's just very sad to everyone concerned.
Well, we're going to put together a little montage of a couple of things that he did in your call. We dedicate the show, obviously, to him. But as far as the sport was concerned, did you see anything that interested you? England in the friendlies, what did that look like?
The very dour game with their 0-0 draw.
Woeful.
They've got another game coming up. Belgium keep winning. They've got a good record. And the new coach, they've done well. Bafana 6-0 against Seychelles.
But apparently they don't even have a professional league, the Seychelles.
Well, how many people live on the island? But I know we're going to challenge them with a bunch of my grooms. That's how woeful they are. Yeah, 6-0 was shooting practice. They weren't good enough. But at least Bafana won. But I thought the rugby, I had more interest in the rugby. But again, you saw what happened racing in Turventine in the rain. The game at Loftus, they called it off at halftime. They had to go to halftime, James, because the rule says that scoreline will be used for the log. Yeah. But for anyone who has a wager, it's no bet.
That's the interesting part. No bet as far as the wager is concerned. I have a few mates that backed Province and had a lot of money on them, and doubles and trebles and all to comes and whatever. And they say, surely if it's a game as far as the rules concerned, it's just a game as far as the betting's concerned.
Listen, the rules are just to do it. You know, if you go to a cricket match and goes Duckworth-Lewis, you get your money back. You know, it's the same when they alter anything. But the bet's over 90 minutes or 80 minutes.
When they go to Duckworth-Lewis, you get your money back in a cricket game.
They can't. They say we're changing the format of the game.
Does that sound?
Yeah, same as rugby, James. The rugby now, you say your bet's on 80 minutes. Sometimes you've got 3 bets. You've got the draw as well. So the guy says, hey, you can't take my money. You didn't give me a chance to get back for a draw. So the correct thing to do is to do that. But the Sharks were good. The Sharks, because Griquas can be a bit of a pothole in the road. But the field was green. There were 11 people in the stands. And all Afrikaans, did you see them?
No, I didn't. I never saw anyone in the stand. Yeah, I thought it was a lockout game because of the rowdy crowd.
It looked like it could have been. That was the lockout game was England against Croatia. And no, Sharks were very good. And Province looked very good against Jittery Blues. When it came to the wet ball, the Province were way superior. But we've now got our 4 teams for the Currie Cup semi-finals. Sharks are at home against the Lions. And there's 2 that had a half a game meet in Cape Town, hopefully on drier ground.
Who do you think will win, the Sharks against the Lions?
I think the Sharks. The Lions have been a bit jittery. Jukebox was jittery. Yeah. And then the other game...
You know about the jukebox.
Yeah, I know about the jukebox. Yeah. And the other game, I think Province will beat Bulls again. And it'll be a wonderful final. Province
you played a couple of jittery jukeboxes in your life?
Yeah. Green Door, you know. Yeah, definitely.
No better than Red Door.
No, that was... Talking about Red Door, we got a big race to talk about when we get to the races and current affairs.
Okay, well, let's kick on with our 3 to follow. We've got 3 very nice horses, we think, this week. Let's go to the first one. We go to the 11th of October at Turfentine, a Sean Terry and mate. Let's pick it up. Well, we gave you the preview. We're going to the 11th of October. Turfentine, Sean Terry produced one. We think this can run. Bred by Boland Stud. As a Mambo in Seattle out of a Captain Almare, there's got to be plenty of speed here. Watch the way this runs. Its name's Von Trio.
Yeah, this is an interesting race with Von Trio. And it's drawn deep to start. And once they get rolling, you see, it gets out well enough. And they elect to get up there. It's small, narrow, the track, and they're going to get up into the race. And Ribu and Var gets off the front. And this horse sits up second. The interesting thing about Von Treo's run here, you can see him on the outside with the red cap and the spotted sleeves. The winner is right behind him. Winner looks a good horse in Monopolize, who gave Lorena rides. And at this stage, there's a length and a half, length and 3/4 behind Von Treo.
Well, as they start turning for home, Von Trier completely loses it. He's got no idea where to go, what to do. The 3-year-old by, as I said, Mambo in Seattle. And the white-faced horse just moves up and runs straight past him. I mean, you'll see now as they come off the elbow, Von Trier's in a position, but he's sort of lugging in behind the leader. And the white-faced horse goes past him off.
Yeah.
But this horse, Von Trier, I think it's Lyle Hewitson, just balances him up and got stick in the right hand. He didn't actually lay the stick on the horse, but the horse is lugging in the whole way. He keeps on pushing, keeps on riding. The winner's gone, but watch this.
Yeah, this is a very good finish. Lyle tries to get him to go to the hands late in the race, but the bird has flown. Very good run by Von Trier. Stick with that one.
Yeah, there's no doubt that one looks like one of those horses that got the big come-on look about him. He'll be useful wherever he runs. Got lovely action. But this one was probably the most impressive maiden winner we've seen all year. We go to Turfentine, Saturday the 13th of October. They went 1,450 on the inside trackers by far out of Illabella, best bred horse on the planet. Let's go and pick up Ile de France.
Yeah, this is a sparkling debut. This family, as Mark de Kock said on the air, if they quicken, they really quicken. The ones that can run can really run. It gets jostled about here with Gavilarina for Michael de Kock, and allows the others to get up there. Geocentric, Diamonds and Rubies, Tropical Punch, they're all scrambling. You can see on the outside that I think it's Geocentric Forces, it's way ahead of Diamonds and Rubies. The horse that we've found now, Gavilarina sat it back third last in Mary Slack's Wilgeborst colours, and rides patiently. And James, what I liked about this horse is when he looks to take it out for a run, even before he's got it out, it's starting to fly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's starting to move. The horse that ran second, Viva Pipa, is very well named.
Why is it?
Well, do you know what Viva Pipa is?
Well, I'm taking it came from Aventure.
Yeah. That's right. Okay. Well, that's down the inside. Actually, Ile de France was.
No, look at it move out. And look at this. Before he gets it out completely, it's flying, James. Absolutely flying.
Low flying. She takes off this filly. She runs past them in a matter of strides, 5 or 6, 8 strides. She's passed a lot of them. And now lugging in, doesn't really know what to do. Just under her hands ride. Absolutely dawdles in.
This is very good, James.
It's got to be one of the best we've seen. This filly, I would think you follow her until she gets beaten.
Yeah.
We said that once with
Mythical
Flight.
Do you remember that? Back until beaten.
This, you're back until it gets beaten. I think she's very, very good. Look at her. She's got her head in on her chest, battling to ease her up. And lovely to see a filly like this in those famous colours. We now move on to Turfentine on the inside track. And this was the next race, the second race, also 1,450. And the horse that ran fourth here is African Daisy. Now, this filly is very interesting because she's beautifully bred. She's out of a Saddler's Wells mare. She's by Captain Al. So she's going to go a trip. She's bred by Claver Flay. And just
talk about famous colours.
Yeah,
this one had
the Magna colours.
Yeah,
the dark blue. Let's go and have a look at this at the start. This filly just doesn't know what's going on, but once she's got a run under her belt, you'll see how she improves.
Yeah, drawn well and ridden by Lyle Hewitson, who gets it into the race. To his credit, this is over 1,450 as well as the last race we showed you. And runs a good race. The pace is on quite early. Split gets up. The eventual winner is in the red silks in second place, and that's a horse called Neng Kappa Neng for Roy Magna and Dennis Schwartz. But in joint fourth is this horse, African Daisy. And when interviewed, Sean Terry had said just might be a bit short for her, and it proved to be the case.
Yeah, I think greenness more than anything. She really didn't know what she was doing. She was in amongst horses. But once the penny drops with this filly, I think you're going to see a lot from her. She just looks like a nice, big, rangy daughter of Captain Al. We know those Captain Al fillies are very good.
Oh, sure.
This looks like out of a Saddler's Wells mare. Now, what's interesting, you can see her, and we'll pick her up, and then we'll talk about her, coming through between them next to the horse with the orange sleeves. There's not much room. but she's still going pretty well, but she just doesn't look like she really knows what to do.
Yeah, that's right. You know, she's given a perfect ride. Time perfection. It was a little tight when she went through, but Ning Kappa Ning.
They move out on her, which,
that's right.
You know, cause her to lose her stride.
Yeah, that's right. And then Diego's coming through for Stuart Pettigrew and Eureka Effect. A very good run by Professional too for Michael de Kock and Raymond Danielson. That the penny dropped late. But the Sunraced horse African Daisy, look at that, not beaten far.
Yeah. Now, what I can tell you about African Daisy is that the next foal by Frankel, okay, is a filly.
Ooh.
And, you know, Equine Hub's not far, about 6 weeks off
away
launching.
From starting, yeah.
And the Frankel filly out of this mare is going to be on Equine Hub.
Wow, that'll be worth a couple of bob.
Well,
about 6 weeks, this will have won by then.
Yeah.
It'll enhance the value.
Yeah.
But anyone all over the world should be interested in a Frankel.
Exactly.
It's had about 21 stakes winners, or 26 stakes winners.
26 stakes winners, yeah.
Yeah, Frankel's flying.
Yeah. Well, there's a Frankel filly out of the saddle as well, mare.
Sure.
Half sister.
Fantastic.
So that should be fun. We're looking forward to seeing what happens there, and we certainly will keep you up to speed as far as Equine Hub.
Just talking about Equine Hub for a moment, James, and I went through it the other day. I think it's going to take off. It's my own opinion. I think it's going to take off because people have always complained we can't get horses marketed out, we can't get our horses, the protocols in place, can't get them out the country. Here, this is going to be a sight. People can say, well, listen, we can bind to this horse wherever it races because we like the horse, you know. Yeah. Very good.
There'll be horses all over the world, but obviously we're very lucky we're starting in South Africa. We've been granted our colours and we're ready to rock and roll. It's just a matter of getting all the computer stuff up to date,
yeah.
and it's going well. We're very excited. 1st of this, November we move into our offices in Umhlanga Rocks.
Fantastic.
And 1st of December we hope to be up and rolling with
Lovely.
some product on there for you to buy.
Yes.
And okay, let's go and see what shouldn't happen. It takes a bit of work to become a proper dustman, and that horse is on the planet. Is looking to.
Yeah, because the owner was looking for it.
Yeah.
He said, "Where you been?"
Yeah,
he said, "I've been in the paddock." I've been in the paddock.
If you want to see the full unabridged version with quite an interesting clip, you go on to www.goldcircle.co.za. You can watch the whole show, including what shouldn't happen. We're going to move on and see the plum of the week.
Sweet Mary Lou's going to dart to the inside and becomes a danger. Ariana's Shadow comes to the outside. Generous Lady, Ariana's Shadow's on the bridle. Sweet Mary Lou's on the inside. Ariana's Shadow comes gliding at the 200-meter marker. Towards the inside, Sweet Mary Lou and Generous Lady, but it's Ariana's Shadow. Second Request running late, but Ariana's Shadow found the support and wins by a length and a quarter. Generous Lady, Sweet Mary Lou and Second Request.
Well, his daughter Karari was well priced because she'd been at level weight. She'd run against the best already. I think she'd been feature placed, stakes placed, Group 1 placed, And she ended up, you could have got 7-2 about this filly.
Yeah, she was.
4-1.
I think a lot of people are thinking, James, maybe she's going over a trip because she had, I think, bounced up in a 1200 in a big race. And I had a good look in the ring. She's slightly swayed back. She's not big, but these Kararis can run, James.
Well, she won her first two with Gavin Finzel. And
Gareth,
then she got
Gavin or Gareth?
I think Gavin.
Gavin, okay.
Yeah, and then she got transferred from there to Yogas Governor. She looks like a quality filly, and certainly when you're getting that type of price about it, I thought your filly ran a cracking good race. She got taken across to the inside.
Taken across the course.
She was a philanthropist, isn't it?
Yeah, philanthropist. Keegan said she wouldn't change legs. She'd never been to course for. She kept, he tried everything to get her to change leads, but the winner came sailing past us. Good filly.
Yeah, very good filly. Generous Lady, we might be seeing a bit of her on Equine Hub. Let's go and move on and take a break, and we'll be back with current affairs.
Best race time odds, transparency of betting markets, friendly and super efficient staff, the ability to negotiate odds, a full service tote with no limits, which is very important for exotic players, loyalty program, speedy withdrawal of funds, full odds multiple betting, and excellent in-play markets. These are just some of the many reasons that come to mind as to why I believe, as a serious punter, there is no online operator in South Africa that can realistically come close to matching what Interbet has to offer. Put simply, there's no other site like it, and the ability to negotiate odds adds to my fun and enjoyment. Interbet, where the professionals bet.
Well, welcome to Current Affairs, and we told you last week we would be showing you the Turnbull Stakes where Winks notched up another Group 1. We're also going to show you the Everest, which is the richest race around it. About, what's it, Jim, about 13 million?
13 million, richest race in Australia.
Richest race in Australia, there we are.
Yeah, I think the one in America is $16 million or whatever.
Okay.
You know? So, listen, they're all in different currencies,
yeah.
But 13 million, that's big.
That's big. Yeah, absolutely. And before we look at this Winks race, Jim, there was what makes it interesting is a bit of info I got, because they had the Caulfield Cup over a mile, a Group 1 race, and it was trained by the same trainer. And they run this horse, and it was called the Autumn Sun. It's by Redute's Choice, a very good horse. And this was the mission with this horse. And
the Caulfield Cup.
Yes, the Caulfield Cup. That was the mission. And Oman Masara from Arrowfield, he's involved with the ownership, you know.
John Masara, yeah.
Oh. And John said, they said to him, are you going to go and take on Winks in the Cox Plate? He said, well, it's a thought, you know. Chris Waller's the trainer of both, and, you know, he says, not that we think we can beat her, but imagine if we did. It would be like shooting Bambi. Great chirp. So
that's a chirp.
That's a chirp. Yeah, it'd be like shooting Bambi. So, but Winks is on a big high, and she's 7, James, and there's still talk that they might not retire her now.
Well, as I said last week, I think she's racing better than she's ever raced.
Yeah,
they're bringing youngsters along. There's 4-year-olds and whatever,
stablemates and everything,
and they bring whatever they can. They can't beat her.
Yeah,
and she just murders them. And the way she won this was good. Probably as impressive a win as I've ever seen. Because really, you look off a slow pace, you thought to yourself, well,
I thought she was in trouble.
Yeah, she does look in trouble, but she ends up beating them easily.
Yeah.
So let's go and have a look at the Turnbull Stakes. This was run the week before last, but we didn't show it last week, and we thought we've got to show it to you. This filly, if you didn't see her, you've got to watch this race, because this mare is absolutely unbelievable. She beats whatever they bring.
They're racing. And Winks jumped away with them and cleanly. Trap for Fools out well with John Snow on the inside. Divine Unicorn is a little bit fired up in the early stages. So Divine Unicorn is going to push Trap for Fools and John Snow the inner. A couple of lengths away then to Young Star as they settle. The inside is Kings Will Dream from Mighty Boss Ventura Storm. Next in the field towards the end is on the inside of those horses now Winks. And they were followed by around the outside Grunt, and at the end is Tally. So they settle now with about 1,500 metres to go. Trap for Fools by a length, 2 in second place, Divine Unicorn. 2 lengths to John Snow, and they were followed by Young Star, Kings Will Dream. A length and a quarter, Mighty Boss Ventura Storm, and they were followed by Grunt. Second last is Winks on the inside of Tally at the end. So they reach the 1,200 metres, and it's Trap for Fools, the bolter, leading by a length and a quarter, Divine Unicorn, and 3 further back is John Snow, and the speed isn't that fast. They were followed by Young Star on the outside of Kings Will Dream, followed by Mighty Boss Ventura Storm. Third last is Grunt, and they were followed by Winks on the rails, and at the end is Tally, heading towards the 800 marker. And the front runner is Trap for Fools for young Ben Allen. Comes up towards the turn, extends that lead to 2 1/4. Divine Unicorn at the 650. Then John Snow. Further back is Young Star, ridden along, passed by Kings Will Dream. Winks is about 8 off the lead around the turn. Ventura Storm midfield from Mighty Boss, followed by Grunt, and they were followed by Tally, and Winks sticking towards the inside but trying to pick up some ground. Trap for Fools has them running at the 300 metres. John Snow back to the inside, Kings Will Dream. There's a gap for Winks, she's going to have to explode. Trap for Fools at the 200. Kings Will Dream back to the inside. Winks down the middle. Kings Will Dream at the 100. It's getting desperate. Now Winks is storming home. Winks over the top. Oh, she's too good. They can't beat her. Winks has won it by a length. Second Young Star. Photo third. Kings Will Dream or Ventura Storm. Then Trap for Fools. Again Divine Unicorn. John Snow, Mighty Boss, Tally. And at the end, Grunt at the end of the field. How's your blood?
Well, there we are. We had to show you that superstar performance. And if I'm not mistaken, they all carried 52. They're in lot there, eh, James?
They all carried 52 now. I think that's a
Well, you think it's a mistake?
Yeah, I think it's an error. They all carried for 60, I think.
I must look that up because
that's a stakes race. Stakes race that carry top of that because carry set weights.
Yeah,
you know.
but superb, James.
Yeah, well, when you actually analyse it, she's trapped on the inside. She's got to get out. She actually was going to go in between those two horses, and she had to switch out because he saw the little gap. Going through the 200, she's 2.5 lengths behind the front horses, which ended up running second and third. Going through the 100, she's level with them, and she wins on the bridle by length.
Yeah,
you know, to make up 4 lengths, which she made up.
Correct.
4 lengths is
phenomenal against these horses.
Group 4 lengths is it's 16 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. 16 yards.
Yeah.
It's a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah.
You know, in 200 meters.
Yeah.
That's
phenomenal.
And she never even came off the bat.
She's done it all. She absolutely has done it all.
I love watching horses like this. Where that's what makes racing such fun. To watch horses like this, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the Everest, James. The Everest was won this weekend, and it's a race that you have to get a slot. Certain people buy slots there, and they sell it off to horses that qualify for this big race, 13 million Australian dollars. And, well, it turned out to be a big success for the Snowdens because Red Cell won it again, the Schnitzel horse won it again. But, James, it was bottomless ground because they had all that rain there, and there was a horse called Scholes who thought would run well, who hated the ground. Another John Massara horse, I was reading about him. But this horse here is now the biggest stake earner in Australian history.
The second biggest. I thought he was second biggest behind Winks.
No, well it's, maybe they said it's just gone past Maccabi Diva.
Yeah, for second place.
Okay.
For second place. Winks is the biggest.
Yeah, I think this is only 15 million it's won.
This is 14.8 million this horse has won.
Winks is on 1920.
Yeah, no, this is the second biggest. What is interesting about this, and I find fascinating, is that they're both Magic Millions candidates. They were both sold through the Magic Millions ring.
Yes.
Winks is obviously the famous one.
Yeah.
Now this horse has gone past Maccabi Diva to 14.8 million. He was sold for $120,000 as a yearling,
yes,
okay, at Magic Millions. So they own the top 2 highest price horses
Yeah.
ever sold in Australia as yearlings.
Yeah, you know, what was interesting about it, James, is that they were preparing this for a Group 2, and it got cast in the box.
Yeah, exactly.
And the effect...
That was a month ago.
Yeah, and it ran 5th.
Yeah. Well, no, it didn't run. It didn't run in the Group 2. The Group 2 was called the Short Stakes, okay? And they ran it 2 weeks later, and it ran 5th in the warm-up, which was meant to be a second warm-up. And John Snowden, John and Peter Snowden,
yeah.
They said, well, they didn't know that they had it right. They were terribly disappointed. In hindsight, obviously, everything fell into place for them. They said that the week of the race started raining, and they knew then they were in with a chance.
Yeah, it's 6-year-old, huh?
Yeah, they're going to run him again. They said that he's still young, and they're going to go again, I think, next year.
Let's go and have a look at the race. We've got the race to show you.
Interestingly enough, they were worried that the O'Brien horse, okay, US Navy flag, I think it was the horse that might go to the front. Anyway, it didn't go to the front. Couldn't get there. Missed the start.
It ran 9th.
It ran a poor race.
Scholes ran 11th, yeah.
Under pressure from the start. But as you say, let's go pick him up. Karen McAvoy, Red
Local
Cell.
lad, Glyn Schofield runs 4th on Le Romain.
Yeah.
Wow, bigger roar than last year. It's a moist crowd here at Randwick, and the gates open for the Everest. US Navy flag missed the start together with Osborne Bulls. Redzel was fast into stride, and Scholes pretty quickly out. Trapeze Artist there, and Le Romain's pushing forward. Vega Magic's cast out very deep early. Fedora's even wider. Then US Navy flag further back to Brave Smash in her time. Graff's right off the track, third last from Santa Ana Lane, and Osborne Bulls is last. It's a soft lead for Redzel. Le Romain to second. Vega Magic 3 wide. No cover third. Then Trapeze Artist. Fedora's off the track. US Navy flag improves in front of Scholes. Brave Smash going forward. Then Graff off the bridle. Further back in the race then to Graff and Scholes. Are they straighten up now? Redzel, McAvoy swinging off him up the rise. Le Romain sticks on second. Trapeze Artist goes to third. 300 out. Redzel still cruising in the lead. Trapeze Artist, Le Romain do the chasing. Further back to Graff, and down the outside is Osborne Bulls. It's Redzel clear. Redzel, 50 metres to go. Looking to conquer the Everest again, and boy, he's done it. Redzel leads all the way from Trapeze Artist. I think Osborne Bulls stands well third in front of Le Romain and Graff. Then Santa Ana Lane from in her time.
There we go, Redzel back-to-back wins in the Everest by Schnitzel. James, good to see Glyn Schofield right up there here in 4th. The outside horse, Osborne Rules. Sure.
Osborne Bulls.
Bulls, sorry. Oh. They tried to go to the where they thought was better ground, less cut up. It was making up ground late.
Made up a lot of ground, but I think that this horse set his own fractions.
Yeah.
And he obviously goes well in the soft. He's won it already, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you got to like about it, but as the Snowden said, when the horse cast himself in the box a month before and they couldn't run, the morning of the race, it was a prep race, they couldn't run him. You know, as a trainer, you've been through it. Your heart sinks. You can't say this horse been with me 4 years or 5 years, he never cast himself in the box. What makes him go and do it the day before a race? You know?
Well, you know, as a trainer, you know, anything can go wrong. You know, horses are like strawberries, they spoil overnight.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget what happened to me once at Sommerfeld. Had some Johannesburg clients, and we fancied a horse very strongly. And they phoned me and said, we're going to get on a plane, 9, everything okay? I said, absolutely perfect. All set to go, checked the horse out. And I went up to load it, and it fell off the ramp at about 9:30.
It's great, did it?
Yeah, I had to straight out the race, and didn't even go to the races. Now, these guys landed, I was trying to get hold of them. That's the terrible part, you know, when things go wrong.
Yeah. And it happens every day to every guy who's ever trained a horse.
That's
you know,
right.
That something's going to happen.
Yeah.
That you don't expect.
You've got no control over. You wake up in the morning, one's got stitches in his head, one's lost a shoe, you don't know, one's cast itself, and one hasn't eaten up, and 2 have got a temperature, and you've only got 10 horses.
You've got two that are okay.
Those are the two you work.
Those are the two worst ones.
Yeah.
The ones that can't run.
That's right. Jim, our mate, Patsy Cosgrave, the Parky. We've spoken about him many times in his Dubai trips with Kevin Shea and Mark de Kock. He's really turned it around. He's got married and he's riding brilliantly. And Said bin Surur has taken him overseas to Australia to ride his horses there. And he rode the Caulfield Stakes. He rode in it, and he rode Bentable for Said bin Surur, and up came Patsy to win it, just beating Charlie Appleby's horse, Blair House, I think it is. Yeah. There were 1 and 2 a neck between them. They've come in there with some serious guns this year.
Well, the Australians must be panicking because, you know, we haven't even got to the Melbourne Cup and already they're winning all these races. Yeah. Patsy, he's a good guy to take anywhere because basically he doesn't need much accommodation. You know, he's a pikey. The caravan's about as good, so you can get him one of those motorhomes to sleep in.
No, he's a big gun. Do you remember when he came out here, Jim?
Yeah.
He rode a winner for you and for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely lad.
Guy,
lovely lad.
But you see, that's a difference, you know. Frankie, you got to book him into the Hyatt Grand, the suite, this and that and the other. Patsy, you can just book a caravan park down the road, you know, and just stick him in there. He's quite happy.
He's done so well. As I say, he got married. He was riding for a lot of the top riders, top stables in England. Yeah. And he's just the most wonderful guy. I still need an interpreter when he talks. Oh, I think I'll leave on Thursday. The form will be so thick. You don't know what he's saying.
Like Snatch, like that.
Yeah, like Snatch.
Brad Pitt and
Snatch sounds like Patsy.
Mama.
Yeah. Funny enough, him and Mark Johnson came to a party in my hand. What's the other boys? Jim Boyle, the three racing, came for a party in my house in England a few years ago. And Patsy's great mates with Jim Boyle, and Mark Johnson had come into town with Huggy, and they all came to this party in my house. And I tell you what, when he had a few drinks, Patsy's even harder to understand. Johnson's speaking like, he sounds like Alex Ferguson. This guy sounds like he's auditioning for Snatch. You know, these two talking to me. But both successful guys.
Yeah, Patsy is the best guy in the world to play golf against because he beats himself before he starts. Oh, you guys have got the wrong handicaps. You and Mike the Cop, you're burglars. Yeah. You're both burglars, you two. Anyway, so he knows that he's beaten before he starts with us, but at least he's a mate, one mate that we got. But you talk about Mark Johnson. They had the two big races in Canada, the Canadian International, which is a big Colts race, and the E.P. Taylor, which is a very important fillies race. E.P. Taylor, you know, was the greatest breeder ever. Yeah. And the winner was bred by Mark Johnston, funny enough. Okay. It was trained by Roger Varian and ridden by Andrea Attenzi, and his name was Shikra Rika. By Sharmadal. Okay. So, and Attenzi also won the Canadian International and Desert Encounter.
Good rider.
Trained by David Simcox.
Yeah, so the Poms went into town.
Poms are all over the world, killing everyone.
That's right. Appleby's in Australia, the others are going there.
Yeah. Said bin Surur in Australia.
They got some stock, James. They got stock. They had a big year. I think Appleby won about 6 Group 1s.
Yeah. So, you know...
What about Frank Stronach now? He's 85 years old and he's... Tell me what
he's a Canadian, is he? The Canadian International this week. Frank Stronach is suing his daughter and the CEO of Stronach Enterprise, Magna Enterprises is called, because he started also as an auto parts, motorcar parts salesman, seller. And he started a company called Magna, made an absolute fortune selling motorcar parts. He then branched out into the horse business, and he started Magna International. And eventually, in about 2001, he put his daughter in charge. Okay, Belinda is her name. Belinda Stronach. Well, she ran it for a couple of years, and then she went into politics.
That's right.
In
she
Canada.
went into politics.
Yeah,
correct.
she went to run as prime minister, I think.
I don't know what she went to run for, but she went
I think
into
she
politics.
Ran to, Anyway, she came back in about 2009, and Frank put her back in charge, and with a guy called Alan Ossip, I think his name is Alan Ossip, and now he's suing both of them for.
Misuse of the trust?
Yeah, misuse of the trust, misappropriation of funds, this and that and the other.
He's 85, Jim. He's still active, eh?
Imagine he's 85, he's suing his daughter. He says that they've wasted the money, they've spent it on this and then the other, the expensive dinners that they didn't need, limousines. You can't believe what the lawsuit said. 85 pages of lawsuit.
That much money, yeah.
And he's having a go at his daughter, and his daughter, the daughter's CEO, Alan Ossip, he's under pressure as well. Let's just go and have a look at some sire fees, because you know what happens, they start putting out the fees for the new season, for the stallions for the new season. And Tappet has been head for
in
years.
America, you mean?
$250, yeah, in America. $250,000 for Tappet. Well, he's been dropped to $225,000. So who's at the head of the affairs now? Not Tappet. He's now behind Warfront. Warfront is $250,000. Yeah.
Interesting to see who's up there with him. Sure.
A couple of interesting ones. Curlin $175 from $150. This horse Gold Magic, Good Magic $35. He won the Breeders' Cup. He was the best juvenile in America. Run Happy $25. You know, Run Happy is probably the.
Is Uncle Mo up there?
Uncle Mo's up there. He's $80,000. And Lane's End Quality Road, 70 to 150, the biggest mover. Quality Road.
That's a big jump, eh?
So those are the stallion fees. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with our tribute to Raymond. Well, as you all know by now, Raymond Rogers, our great friend and producer, passed on last week. And without him, I don't think Winning Ways would ever have been Winning Ways. Because when we, Paul and I, lobbied him to produce this show, he wasn't quite sure how you and I were going to do it, was he? You know?
No, he came round. He realised the benefits in that, but he, as you say, sort of, well, no, we can't do that. No, this is difficult. No, we can't do that. Yeah. But in the end, he was jacked up and ran it beautifully for us. You know.
In the end, actually, for those of you that don't know, what happens is that Paul and I put together the bones of the show. We write it out for him. And that's why we executive produce. We're big shots, you know.
Very big shots.
Bloody important people.
Yeah,
anyway, what happens is that we give him the bones to work on, and he puts the whole thing together, presents us with a running order, and then produces the show, which in itself is quite a feat, because there's nothing to it.
Well, he's now been shackled by time constraints.
Yeah.
Things like that. He had to get everything in order. So he had to be in our ear and say, guys, you're overrunning, or you're going to overrun. He had a lot to do every time.
And he certainly did a lot. You know, yeah. We'll show a few montages of what type of things he did, and just talk over them. You know, I think the guys have put together.
The July Gallops, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
absolutely. What have we got?
I don't know what we got. We're going to have a look and see what these boys are going to show us. But we'll talk over it. I'm sure, you know, this is Raymond, 66 years old.
Yeah.
He was a really lovable man.
Soft touch.
And there are a lot of people that really, really loved him. When you read the Facebook page, it was amazing how many people. Here he is with his camera. Michelle Wingo loves Michelle, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Graham Hawkins. Did the July Gallops, as you said.
Yeah.
Look how beautifully he did it. He did all the strapping and everything. And then this was probably his crowning glory when he did these girls walking onto the stage. There was a costume hitch that we didn't get to see, but it was beautiful.
I edited that. Yeah, but Raymond used to do all these things. He was active in all of them, James. And on Friday at 11 o'clock, everyone's coming down to Greyville to celebrate his life. Yeah. How's that pattern, James?
No, it's beautiful. But there we go. That horse is in Hong Kong. Yeah, Eden Nance. It's with much sadness that, you know, we lose a guy like this, because you don't realize, you know, at the time we were always at each other's throats, but he does the job.
He did the job.
I think that the guys that have taken over have done admirably. You know,
admirably, very competent team. He put a very competent team in
place. That is the tribute to the man.
Yes.
That without a hitch, we move into this week and we carry on. There are guys who knew exactly what was going on, Denver and the team. The one cameraman here, he gets a blast. He never stopped. I mean, he must be happy. Yeah. You know, what's his name? Zane.
Zane. The best cameraman on the racecourse. Yeah. That's what Dees calls him.
Yeah. Well,
but he's put together a good team. As you say, it's testament to what he did. And
did you know him as a soccer player?
No, he's no soccer player.
No, but did you know him? Did he coach any games?
No, he refed.
A
ref's a unique job, you know. Yeah. And the refs take flack. And when we grew up, the refs took flack. But there were some very good ones who went on to do the great games in South Africa. And some of them went on to do them internationally. And George Cox was, I think, chairman of the Trainers Association. He was older than Raymond.
Chairman of the Trainers Association?
The Referees Association. Sorry, he could have been chairman of the Trainers. But he was chairman of the Referees Association, and he passed away. I went to his funeral, but they had a good band of guys. And you know, you'd get there and say, "Gee, I see Rogers is reffing." We knew there was no stepping off the line. You know, he had an easy gait, and he'd get round you and say to you, "Keep it tidy and watch what you're doing," you know, and just move on and ref and blow fairly and blow. And he was acclaimed. He was an acclaimed referee. And as I said, there were some very good referees at the time. And Raymond then moved from running around a field to running around a studio.
Yeah. And ended up here, how long ago? When did he get
21, I think. 21 years ago.
21 years ago.
21 years. It's a long time, and he's been with us when
You've been doing television all that time.
Yeah, 25 years.
So you've had him in your ear for 21 years.
21 years, and Belling was before him.
Yeah,
Wayne Belling was in my ear for 4 years before that. But you remember, James, when we started our first ever show at Clarewood, the little room upstairs, and Raymond put it together with his cameras, and it was
2 chairs. Yeah, I think Sean Cormack was one of the first guys.
One of him, and Buller Benton, and people like that. That was years and years ago. Yeah. And Raymond, from there we progressed to this beautiful studio. You know,
and he put the studio.
The green
together.
Studio was his. He went up to Joburg with Raf. They put it all together, and every day he found new ways of utilising it. You know, it was just a guy who had everything, kept a record of everything. We used to say to him, "Listen, you want to see something from 6 months back?" He had the records, and he'd put them together for us. And but that was his life. Now, you know, that was his life.
Well, we celebrate his life. We're going to show you one of probably the best features he ever did, which was he used to do the July every year and put together a piece on the July. And we're going to play you out with our tribute to Raymond, a piece that he did for the 2017 July. Hope you enjoy it.
dream, one soul, one prize, one goal, one golden glance of what should be.
It's a kind of magic.
One shaft of light that shows the way. No mortal man can win this day.
It's a kind of magic.
The bow that breaks inside your mind is challenging the doors of time.
It's a kind of magic.
The waiting seems eternity. The day will dawn of sanity. Is this a kind of magic?
It's a kind of magic.
There can be only one. This rage that lasts 1,000 years will soon be done. It's a kind of magic. 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 That lasts 1,000 years will soon be done. This is a kind of magic. There can be only one. This race that lasts 1,000 years will soon be done.
It's a kind of magic, 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 magic.
Your world of winners is now online at www.teletrack.com. Simply subscribe to log into your account from any mobile device in South Africa and access a wide variety of content from our membership package options. Listen in via a live audio stream, catch live racing locally and internationally, or view a wide variety of Teletrack magazine shows to stay informed and updated on the go at any time. It's never been easier. Go to teletrack.com now.